We're on the internet now.
Okay. Well, hey, folks, you would tell them who we are?
Well, we just have to tell them again in a few minutes.
Well, I mean,
You tell them who you are, I ain't telling who I am.
I'm gonna lie about it.
That'll be a good thing,
All
I
right,
guess.
welcome, folks. Welcome on the internet to the Wild Bob Ronnie Show.
Here's the camera.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
And, but, you know, I don't like to look straight. They say never look a bear straight in the eye, never let his eyes meet yours. That's the way it is with a TV camera. If not, it will attack you.
Well, I ain't had a lot of staring contests with bears, but I remember Davy Crockett used to grin them to death.
Right.
You remember that?
What about the two guys running from the bear?
No. Davy Crockett back, Walt Disney made the Davy Crockett King of the Wild Frontier
Right.
series on television back in 1955. And there's one where Davy goes back in some weeds after a bear, and the trees wiggle, and the trees wiggle, and the trees wiggle, and there ain't no shooting or nothing goes on. And he comes out of dragging a bear, and Georgie Russell, that was Jed Clampett in the later life, said, "How'd you do that?" And he said, "I grinned him to death."
I bet. I bet. But in Alaska, there's an ordinance on the books that prohibits you from disturbing a sleeping grizzly bear to take his picture.
I've heard that. There's a law in Tennessee, I don't know where you'll find it in there or not, but if it ain't, I'm sure it's still in effect, because there wasn't no use in killing it. But you used to, if you was going to drive a car from here to Knoxville, you had to notify all the people along the way 2 weeks in advance you'd be driving through there.
Right. Well,
so you wouldn't scare their livestock.
Right. And there's a law on the books in Kentucky that if you meet a horse, you have to cut your car off and cover it with a camouflage blanket.
Till the horse gets by.
Till the horse gets by.
Well, there's one where it's against the law to keep ice cream in your pocket. I don't remember where that's at.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah. And they get what the other, there were some other ones here about uh, it is against the law to drive a goat by a church on Sunday in a ridiculous fashion.
What's a ridiculous
I have no idea what ridiculous.
Well, I guess the legislators, the elected representatives, are not any dumber now than they used to be, are they?
I don't reckon. I don't reckon so. Folks, we're going to be on the cable TV here in just a minute, and
maybe longer than that.
we hope you, those of you who don't have cable and have logged on to us here on the UG TV, we want to welcome you, and maybe if you want to give us a call, we're at 423-562-1450.
No, we're not.
566.
566.
566. 423-566-1450. So, and we'll be here about the next 55 minutes. So we hope you'll give us a buzz, give us a call. We're just looking at a book that has some old laws still on the books, and Fort Lauderdale, Florida is still on the books that a horse has to be equipped with headlights and taillights.
At Fort Lauderdale?
Huh?
At Fort Lauderdale?
In Fort Lauderdale.
One of them army horses was equipped that way.
Yeah. And in Hillsboro, Oregon, it's against the law to ride your horse around the back seat of your car.
That ain't a horse, that's my mother-in-law.
That's where you would want to put your mother-in-laws, in the back seat of the car.
Must be getting ready to go on television.
Huh?
You must be getting ready to go on
Yeah,
television.
yeah. I'm gonna pour an Anthony Weiner. It's what I'm
Don't shake the table.
gonna say.
Don't shake the table.
What do you think about Anthony Weiner and his
Well,
recent
I think the same
display?
people in New York elect him, they deserve him.
I think they really. Well, you know, I don't know what he being worse than Bloomberg.
Well, no, but I guess that's right. I mean,
Is
he got,
Bloomberg running again?
no, I think he's run out. But
Well,
this year Anthony Weiner guy, the first time was bad enough, but he done it again
yeah,
after he got kicked out.
right. He's real proud of that.
And his wife, no, she's wanting to do, the only thing she's wanting to do is be the mayor's wife.
Yeah,
She ain't,
that's true. I think so. Uh, 'Cause I don't see how in the world a woman or a man is in a situation with words
we're on the television
that
now.
could condone that type of. Hey, folks, I want to welcome you to the Wild Bob and Ronnie show here on Channel 12 at WLAF in La Follette, Tennessee. And we'll be here probably for the next 50 some minutes. And we just want to welcome you.
Yeah, well, thank you for
We
showing
want to
up.
tell you, those of you who are watching us on the web up in Kentucky, that it is a state law in Kentucky that you must take a bath once a year.
Bob's brought his law books. His,
Right, yeah.
what is it, Black's Anatomy or what
Right.
is it?
Yeah, you go. And in, let's see, what was it? Lebanon, Texas. There's a law still on the books that if a woman drives a car through the city limits of Lebanon, it must be preceded by a man either walking or running in front of it, waving a red flag.
They need to put them in parking lots.
I think so, you know. And there are a lot of real odd and things in Delaware. It's against the law to pawn your wooden leg.
Well, man couldn't get home, could he?
Man, that's a hop home, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But we want to welcome you tonight. It's really these laws, you know, crazy laws that are still on the books. But you know, I think real life today to me is a lot more amusing than anything they could put in that book. You don't see the crazy things going on in this world, and I know I take a little bit different slant. I know this Representative Clark, she's a black lady from New York, made a speech today in which she made a point and said that white people did not value black people's lives as high as they did white people's lives. Now, what do you think about that statement?
Well, what color is she?
She's black.
That's what I figured. Everybody thinks that they ain't getting their part. I don't care. I think she's a fool. What do you think?
Well, I was just thinking that I don't think that's true. Uh, Not in my case and the people that I know, we value life per se, regardless of the color, regardless of the gender. Uh, life itself to me is sacred. Now, I will say this, and for those of you on the internet elsewhere, you need to listen up. I think it's black people who do not value black lives as much as they do other lives. Because 92% of the murders and the killing of black people is done by other black people. So they don't value their own lives. That's where the problem comes in. I don't think they need to be blamed it on uh, people of other races that they don't value the black lives. When they do not value their own. Uh, they do not value black lives themselves.
Who was this woman?
She was representative, Democratic representative from New York State.
Are they still going on about Zimmerman?
It's kind of calmed down now a little bit
You know, them
because,
people he pulled out, helped get out of there wreck are getting threatening phone calls and stuff because the nuts think they staged the thing.
yeah, well, you know, Zimmerman surfaced the other day, didn't
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
you?
about.
Yeah, I know that, yeah. And, well,
You know, he's going to change his name. Did you know that?
what,
He's going to change his name.
do what, do
He's going
Jesse Jackson or
Benghazi,
Ben
so the
God?
president will quit talking about him.
Right, okay. That's about the only way you can do that. He might, rather than being J.R. Zimmerman, he could change his name to IRS Zimmerman. He quit talking about him
Yeah.
too, you know, and or he could name himself Fast and Furious, and they wouldn't talk about him then.
And Carlos
Yeah,
Danger,
they could call himself Carlos Danger and get elected
mayor
mayor
of
of
New
New
York
York
City.
City. Yeah, because you know Zimmerman's got all kind of options there, and
Yeah, it
that he
is.
can take. Uh, but you know this, I maintained last night. We talked last night. We were on the internet by itself. If any of you want to get the show last night, all you got to do is go to TV and just plug in what you want as far as the date of the show that you want, and you pick up the one for last night. And but I maintained last night that there's far more racial hatred coming from the blacks toward the whites than there is from the whites toward the blacks. In the deep south or in the north or anywhere else, I don't think there's nearly as much.
There's
Right.
a whole lot more strife in the north than there is in the south.
Oh, I know that, but I don't think there's nearly as much racial uh, animosity from the whites toward the blacks, even though the blacks commit most of the crimes in this country. That's the reason they're profiled. They commit most of the crimes. Most of them who commit the crimes dress in a certain way where it's easy to profile them. You find very few black people committing crimes that's wearing a
And
sport
you know,
coat and a necktie.
if you see a white guy going down the street with his pants, hind end of his pants dragging the ground, yeah, and his cap
knees.
on sideways, and
Right.
he ain't looking for much good either,
Well,
usually.
that's true. That's true. But you don't see that quite as much as you do with black people who love to wear the hoodies. That's their symbol.
Well, now you don't see a lot of that around here. And most of it you see around here is white people because that's about all we got.
Yeah.
But I go along with the urban areas. You're talking right there.
Well, my dad was a very wise person. He only had third grade education. He was self-educated. You could not outfigure him. He could figure in his head. I figured quick in my head too, but he was quicker. He was well read. He could recite poetry. He wrote music. And this was all with third grade education. But my dad said many years ago, and we had a racially mixed family, and that we had a black boy that my dad raised. No relationship at all, it was just one that had no place to live. And my dad took him in and saw that he got his education, saw that he got a good job. But my dad said many, many years ago, before you even had the Civil Rights Act of the 50s, that the only hope black people had was to get educated.
No, it's true of white people too. If they want to amount to anything besides welfare people.
Well, now, a lot of people, they make a conscientious decision, uh, or they make a decision that they're going to be dumbed down and kept poor by the government with that little old check they send out every month. Uh, One of the things that has hurt uh, the black people, kids and everything, is that 70-some% of the kids in the black community are born uh, out of wedlock.
Well,
And
we talked last night. Just um, this week, I guess Monday, a guy was down buying him a roof, and he got to talking about um, the fellow he knew. Turned out I knew him too. Um, the guy's he's about, I'm going to say, mid to late 50s now, and his first formal job, he failed. Just been on the job like 3 months. He wasn't 20 years old yet. He fell and broke his back, and he has walked with double canes ever since. And that's after, yeah,
yeah, I know
that,
who he, I know him, yeah,
that was after
yeah, yeah.
a lot of therapy, therapy and stuff. Anyway, he, the guy remarks, he wondering why he'd done that.
Yeah, I believe it wasn't but the
Yeah,
railroad,
he worked
yeah.
at the railroad. He said, wonder why he done that. He had a good income there, a disability payment from the railroad. I mean, he didn't have to work, but he went off to school and got an education and got a job and worked all these years. And I think maybe is retired. And he just made a statement, wonder why he did that, wonder why he went to all that trouble when he had a retirement there, a disability retirement. And I said, well, here's the thing about it. Some people would look at that as a guaranteed income. But this guy didn't look at it as a guaranteed income, he looked at it as a guaranteed limit. He knew that's all he'd ever make is that. I'm sure he took advantage of what he could to get his education, and I'd say he probably had an insurance plan through the railroad, probably still does. I hope he does. But he went off and used his talents to amount to something entirely different than he expected he would, but he's worked all his life.
I know that. I've seen him at work, and nothing but admiration. And he's so much happier than if he had sat there and
Well,
vegetated
yeah,
away.
probably been dead by now and definitely crazy.
Why? Work never hurt anybody. I'm firmly convinced of that.
It's hard to convince them people of that. I'm one of them. I'm like Maynard G. Krebs. I don't want to work either.
Well,
I want to say something else. I've got a little unpaid advertising I want to do. Do you ever go down to the bread store?
the new one?
Yeah, it's a new bread company.
Huh?
It's the same place.
Yeah, yeah, I've been
I had never been down there, and until recently I thought it was just stale bread. And I went down there about a month ago, just stopped and looked, and they had a real deal on sourdough. I love sourdough bread, and I can't buy it on the lower end anywhere except Food City, and they just stock maybe 2 loaves, and
right,
half the time they're out.
right.
And I've getting it down there at the bread store for less than half price, and it's better. I
Why?
mean, I can't, but anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. They don't pay me for doing that, but if you guys want some good bread, they got a real deal on bread down
Why?
there. You can buy it to feed your horse too,
Why?
if
Yeah.
you got a horse.
Well, I'm gonna share something with you back a year or two ago when the other company, when the other people run
Mm-hmm.
the bread store there. You could buy bread cheaper at United Grocery than you could at the bread store.
I don't believe you can now.
I
First
don't
off,
think,
you can't find the selection.
yeah, I don't believe, I'm gonna have to check that out and see, but you could buy bread at United Grocery for 50 cents a loaf.
Well, you can't buy sourdough bread there for 50 cents a loaf. You
Yeah,
can't buy it for $1.20 something either.
right. Well, but
I don't believe you can buy
it
it
was
there.
69 cents a loaf at the bread store at that
Yeah.
time.
But that there, if you got stock feeds, I mean, it's $5 a tray or something like that. I don't know
Right.
how it goes. And, but I just impressed with that there sourdough I've been buying down there. It's
Right.
good stuff.
I'm gonna go down and get me a couple of trays of bread, 'cause you know
I figured that.
goats love bread.
I thought I'd save it till winter. I'm gonna have some winter feed. I
Yeah,
figured my goats might have a lot of sandwiches
yeah,
this
yeah,
winter.
yeah. They love light bread.
Well, they live about anything, I think. You know,
I,
they won't eat much off the ground. Are they blind or just picky?
they don't like to eat things off the ground. They like to be up
Yeah.
where they can
I
eat.
don't believe they can see good either.
I don't know. I don't know.
I've got,
I know that a lot of times I put some feed out for mine. A lot of times the little feed container I have will have water in it, and I'm too lazy to go in there and dump it out. So I just throw some over the fence on the ground. I'll notice I always leave some. They'll eat all of
no,
that.
there's a guy told me, and I don't know if it's true or not, that a goat would not eat anything another goat had stepped on.
Possibly true.
Said they'd waste more hay than they'd eat.
Really, well, unless you got that for
Yeah.
they don't pull it out and trample it. And no, I don't think they'll clean up what's on the. They have to be awful hungry to do that, you know.
You think anything eat the labels off a can wouldn't be too picky about other stuff.
But you know, I was reading. I said, well, I guess I was. Yeah, I was reading about some people that were homesteading out in the desert, and they.
I could pick a better place to live than that.
Well, it's a desert area. It wasn't necessarily the
Okay.
desert, and this one guy, he worked for him when he was a little boy, had a herd of goats that he milked. And he said the goats were the only thing in the world could go out there and eat cactus and eat mesquite and all other kind of woody stem plants that are out there and turn it into milk.
But do you have to water your goats?
I do, but they don't hardly ever
I
drink
know,
any.
I never have caught one drinking, and I put water out, and it never goes anywhere. And occasionally I'll empty it if it don't rain and run it over. I like to keep my little fresh
Right, well,
water, but
yeah,
I
I
don't,
empty mine out and change it because
yeah,
it just sits there so
yeah,
long,
but
you
I
know.
don't think they ever drink any water.
Uh,
Of course,
well,
I ain't gonna get
I,
no milk in their belly goats no way.
I was right, but you know, I guess as much rain as we've had, they get enough liquid off what they're eating.
It must be.
Uh,
I when it don't rain, I'll change the water, but it's been raining and running the pot over
right,
anyway.
yeah,
So I ain't worried too much about it. We had a gully washer at home last night.
yeah, I heard you did. Well, like I say, my water uh, container stays
Yeah,
full all the time, you
yeah,
know, and
yeah. I think goats has been putting water in it instead of
right,
taking it out.
I think they've been carrying water, and I'm getting ready to fence in a new section for my goats.
Now I've got one that stays in the fence and mows the yard pretty good. He's getting behind.
Right.
And then I got the other, and he goes out and deadens the timber around the fence. Can't keep him in.
Uh,
He'll get out there and run through a fence.
right. You could run you another strand a little bit lower. You
Now,
wouldn't
what
have
I
to put it
could
right
do
on.
is put him in a little lot and reacquaint him with the
Right, that's what you need.
difficulties of fence
That's what
climbing.
you need to do.
But I don't care that he gets out because
Right.
he kind of
Right.
gets
Well, let
heady.
me tell you about Napa.
Okay, tell me about Napa.
Today I had a difficulty with my big diesel truck.
I noticed you down there difficulty with it today.
Huh?
I noticed you down there getting ready to drive it somewhere today.
Oh, and I had it away from the shop.
Okay,
I carried it over to, I carried my tractor,
yeah.
my 1957
Well, that's practically new.
Farmall 504 diesel tractor with a 5.5 diesel engine in it. And I called up, no problem at all, Lord,
5.5 what?
diesel
I
engine.
know, what does a 5.5 measure?
It's a 5.5 liter.
They measured it in liters in
I
1957?
think so, yeah.
Huh.
Uh, that what they did on the repair books. That's where I got that figure from.
Okay.
That's a 5.5 liter each. I said, I don't know, you know. I said, it's the only one that comes in a 5.4 or 504. No problem at all. They said, yeah, we'll have it here for you. But
What'd you need? What'd you
I
need?
need a head gasket for it and
For
a
that
valve.
diesel truck?
Huh?
For that diesel
No,
truck?
for the farm off.
Oh, okay.
A head gasket and a valve cover gasket
Okay.
for the 57 504 farm off truck. No problem. They got it. They'll be here. I think they'd be day after tomorrow before they get here.
And they had to bring that from the main office, I guess.
Probably. But I also, uh, while I was backing my farm off into the shop to have it worked on, and I pushed my clutch in, and my clutch come apart.
Now, wait a minute. Is this that same clutch you got fixed in North
Yeah,
Carolina?
yeah.
Boy, you need to junk that truck.
I'm gonna have to, but I ordered the parts for it from Napa. They'll be there first thing in the morning about 8 o'clock. So I'll pick
Well,
those
I
up.
know a guy put it in for you.
No, you don't need. I got somebody gonna put it in.
No, no, I would never change horses in the middle of the
Right.
stream.
So I've had a little bit, but Napa took care of all of it.
5629406. You need
Right.
Napa to take care of you.
Right up there across from IGA, and they'll, whatever you need, and it wasn't no, you need what? They said very nicely, you know, said, well, we'll have it for you here tomorrow, and we didn't have to go through a big uh,
Some
exchange of terms and everything, they knew exactly what we needed.
some years back, I went up there. I had an ancient Clark lift.
Okay?
And
Forklift.
and I needed a master cylinder for it. Needless to say, they didn't have no Clark lift reference books up there,
Right,
but they had a book with some pictures in it.
right.
And we hunted a picture of it up, and they got it for me the next day, and it was still working when I traded it off.
Right, how about that?
It's kind of like going down diggers and you need a part, ain't it?
Yeah, you can go down there, I guarantee you, everything works down there.
I got everything but digger. He works when he's got business. I got to go down there and get started working on getting some heat for this winter.
Right, well, you got a big 100 pound tank you
You
need
have to
to
have that valve changed, don't it?
no,
Well, I need to go down there and see old Digger and figure out how to plumb it in and get everything set up. I know it's not even August yet.
right. Now see, on a 100 pounder, they never required that, there was never any changes on it, it never required a uh, retrofit and
Well, I
stuff.
know I opened that valve there yesterday before you got down there. I
Huh?
turned that valve on for just a minute, and because it don't come out on the new ones when you turn
Right.
the valve on. I turned it on, and I like never got the smell out of the house. It wasn't that there, it was that weird propane. It wasn't that good flavored
Right,
propane like Digger's said.
propane may not come from Digger.
I know, I was gonna say, it ain't Digger's propane.
Right.
562-5444, right in the middle of the road in Sawmill Holler.
Probably just old regular propane.
He's just that old rough stuff.
Right, yeah. Well, go see Digger. He'll fix you up for your grill, get you ready for the winter months. If you got a propane refrigerator, you know, you can uh, do that. Your animals love me. Oh, that
I
reminds
thought
me.
it said animals like me.
That, that reminds me. A lady, don't say a lady, a woman,
Uh-oh, it's gonna
dropped
be good.
off a little poodle dog
Uh,
that's running down around Elizabeth's house. Uh, I told Elizabeth, she said, well, I got so many dogs to feed. I said, I know that, but I said, that dog looks like I don't know what's a male or female, it looks like it has not had a good meal recently. So before I left from down there, we put a big pan of food out there for it. So I know it's probably going to find it, and it's probably going to think it has found a home.
if you need a
But
poodle dog, I know where you can get
right,
one.
that's what I'm saying. If you need a poodle dog, it's a good-looking little old dog. I never did get close to it. I just looked at it through the window, and you know, me, I said, feed that dog, and cause I'm not gonna let
Now you know
anything.
it was a woman dropped it
Huh?
off. Do you know who dropped it
Oh,
off?
Elizabeth saw him drop it off up there on the road. Put it out of the car and drive off and leave it, and his little dog's been wandering
You
around
know,
there.
they used to come out in the country and set them out. They got too lazy to take them to the country now.
Yeah, there you go, and that's the worst thing I think you can do is take a dog, then take and dump him somewhere, and I told Elizabeth, I said, feed that dog. I said, I'll get you some feed down here to feed it till you'll find somebody that'll take it. Fine looking little dog, you know, but it looked like whoever that was that dumped it out hadn't had no one to feed that dog for a while.
To no count.
Huh?
To no count, I guess.
Right. Uh, so if you need a poodle dog,
Everybody needs one of them.
everybody, you know, poodles are smart.
I know they are.
Yeah, poodles are smart, and poodles were bred for hunting dogs. Uh, and they make good dogs. They're loyal, and they mind. They're obedient, and like I say, we may have one from now on. But if you if you like to have a poodle,
If you need a
just,
curly-headed dog, you know where you can
just
get
give me a
one.
call. And now it's not a real tiny one. It's
What color is it?
white.
Oh boy, lose it in snow.
Huh?
Lose it in snow.
Yeah, it's about that tall. It's not one of those little bitty ones, you know. It's about that tall. You know. But it's a good looking little old dog, and uh, I should have gone out and made friends with it when I first saw it, but I didn't. I sat around watching TV and drinking iced tea, and when I
Didn't
went
have enough
out,
caffeine in it.
it was not inside anywhere.
Oh.
All right. Are we still on?
Yeah, I have to check our camera
Right,
since
okay.
ours is working better
Hey,
than
Mom.
better than
Right, okay, good.
television stations here. I have to check mine occasionally.
We got double vision going here. We got UGG TV going on one camera, and we've got WLAF going on this one straight in front of us. And we want to welcome all of you everywhere around. You know, I want to let you know that if
Search the world over.
if you need any good concrete, you
Who
need to
you
go
gonna
down.
call if you
You
need
need
good
to go down
concrete?
at Dixie Concrete.
Dixie Concrete got
Yeah,
concrete?
they got concrete.
I
They
bet that's
got
why they call it Dixie Concrete.
septic tanks. They got all the goodies to
Sand
go.
and
The
gravel.
field lines,
They got that
gravel,
there, them there big old boat anchors.
sand for your cat, sandboxes, whatever you need. Ugh, TV.
Hey, good evening, gentlemen.
Hey,
Hey, there's a something heard about the other day, and I haven't dug into it real strong. It was made mention on the Monday night show of Campbell County issues, and it had a letter. One of the callers, I believe, one of the callers called in and mentioned it, and he's a well informed caller, and he described this, and it's to be discussed or on the workshop agenda or something like that for Monday night, and it's on the description it had was PC 1101. Does that ring any bells, gentlemen?
What was it, 1101?
Yes, sir. PC 1101, and what it is, it's a state something to do with a deal where the counties and the municipalities have to file or send in some type of a documentation as to how they intend for the municipality or the county or whatever to be developed, how it's to be growth planned and that type of thing. Now, this is the best I can come up with it. I've done just a small amount of research on it, and it's so much reading. There's just tons of it, and I don't know whether anybody cares or not anymore. Uh,
Well, they done such a wonderful job planning Detroit and
well,
everything else.
I'm sure that we don't have sense enough to do it. Some of I think our uh, politicians have stated what our intelligence level is. But
And
this
we
is,
ain't too smart or we wouldn't put up with them.
well, this thing, from the way I read, it was enacted back in '01, or that's,
I remember something about that.
okay. Uh, Anyhow, if anybody's interested in it, they might look it up if it means anything, but it sounds to me like a means by which to the county officials or someone appointed or something determines how what the future use
What it
of.
is like the building codes. It's a state excuse for the local counties to zone and plan and code, so nobody locally has to take any responsibility for minding everybody else's business.
That's about what it boils down to. Of course, we don't own the property, no now, so
No, we
it
just
probably
renting
don't
it
make any
from them.
difference anyway. There was another something come up, and I didn't understand it or didn't really get to dig the information up on it. But it has to do with a property transfer tax. The best I understand it is to where the county will charge a 50 cents on each dollar of the cost of a property transfer. And
50
that is,
cents on the
let's just say,
dollar.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
50 cents on the dollar?
No, 50 cents on the $100.
Oh, well, that's bad enough.
That don't sound bad, does it? But
That's
if you're
bad
buying
enough.
$100,000 piece of property, house, or whatever, that'll add up to $2,000. But
2,500.
yeah, but here's where I'm coming from on this. It starts at that,
Yeah,
and if
it's like
50
the
cents on
income tax.
$100 don't sound like much, let's just make it a dollar, or let's just make it $10 on 100. Gentlemen, uh, if anybody, I'm sure that there's some county commissioners out there listening that could.
Nobody listens to this show but you.
Yeah, they can enlighten us on it. I know they're just waiting in line, or everybody is, to explain it to us. Anyhow, fellas, appreciate your time,
Thank you,
and
sir.
be worth watching, listening, see how it goes.
Speaking of Dick's Concrete, they've got that concrete look like marble. It polishes
Yeah,
out
they
pretty.
do. You could just build your concrete house. You wouldn't even have to paint the inside or the
No,
outside.
just do it like they done that floor down there at
Yeah.
Food City, and you'd have the prettiest walls in the country.
Right?
Well, I just thought
Very
I'd
good.
finish mentioning Dick's Concrete,
Right.
being we kind of got
We
sidetracked there
kind
with
of, kind of
somebody.
got off the track there on it. But up in Detroit, and we talked about this last night, we have a democracy here in this country. Detroit
Not,
was,
but not intentionally.
Detroit was ruled for 30 some years, if not 40 years, by one party, and that's the Democratic
In 20
Party.
years, they had the
The
same mayor,
Democrat
didn't
Party, huh?
they? In 20 years, they had the same mayor,
Yeah,
didn't
20 years of that was, what was that, Coleman
they? Yeah.
Young, yeah. who was very, very definitely hated the United States and the white people in it. He very definitely hated the United States and the white people. He decided to turn uh, Detroit into a
Well,
little black banana republic.
I heard this reference twice today by talking people, and I thought of it whenever Detroit went bankrupt. If you've ever read, and you have, Atlas Shrugged, Ayn Rand described the city where they built cars. She called it Starksville,
Right, yeah, I know.
and that it's a perfect description of Detroit as it is today. And she wrote that in the
30s.
late 40s,
Yeah, 40s, yeah.
and early 50s. She foretold Detroit 60 years ago
Yeah,
because she had seen the same thing happen in Germany where she got chased out. No, in
right,
Russia, where she got chased out with the communists.
right.
Her dad was a prosperous pharmacist